Hello, welcome back to my balcony victory garden, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Just to give you a quick background, I started this balcony victory garden back in March, and it was really quite miraculous to me. I took this little balcony which was completely bare of anything growing, and without too much fuss or bother, I was able to put in just little starts of plants that I got at the local big box stores and some local nurseries, and start a very lush and terrific vegetable garden, or so it seemed, and everything seemed to be going along quite swimmingly for the first couple of months. However, things hit a bit of a rough spot in well, definitely in June and probably starting in May. And I think it all had to do with the weather. We ran into some of what the locals here call May grey and June gloom, which is kind of a marine layer that we get. We're right along the coast, and it's a marine layer that comes in, and it's kind of damp, and therein lies the problem, because it's just perfect for fungal diseases to breed. So there you are. My tomato plants have gotten hit pretty heavily with early blight. So I'm going to talk about this quite a bit and what I'm doing to try to counteract it, because I'm sure that many of you out there in other areas will be running into early blight, possibly just starting to come. I think this hit us a little early because we're on the coast. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is using hydrogen peroxide in a fairly weak dilution to spray directly onto the leaves. And hydrogen peroxide works by killing the fungus on contact. It doesn't stay around on the leaves that long, but it does knock them out on contact. So then it needs to be followed up with another application of baking soda, which I'll go into in the next video. But for now, let's deal with how we mix this up and what we're doing on the tomato plants. And I'll show you a close-up of what the leaves look like on the diseased plant, so you'll be able to identify it. Okay, so I guess we'll have to go take a look and see how sad they are. All right, over to the tomato plants. Okay, so our first stop is to take a look at the patients here in the sick bay, so you can see what it is that we're dealing with. This one here is the patio variety tomato plant, which was until, I guess about a month ago or so, doing very nicely. And it still has a lot of fruit on it. The fungal disease, I think it's early blight, does not seem to have bothered the fruit. But in typical blight fashion, it started at the base around the soil area and has gradually worked its way up. Okay, so coming around here to our second patient, this is the cherry tomato, the husky cherry red variety, and you can see the same pattern here. Dead leaves at the bottom, yellowing and dying leaves in the middle, and still some healthy green leaves at the top. So it's you can see, looking down in here, some of those dead leaves. So what I'm going to do is trim off all of the diseased leaves, and then taking care to sterilize my my pruning shears so that I don't spread this around to anything else. I'm then going to dispose of these dead leaves and go ahead and then spray the remaining healthy leaves. So here I am trimming off all the dead and diseased leaves, and you can see by the time I'm finished there's not much left. Here's a typical example of one of the diseased leaves that's about, I'd say, halfway through the process. It's already got areas that are turning yellow, and if you can see where I'm pointing out, there's little white spots too, and that's what appeared first, was the white spots. And then you get the yellow, and then eventually the leaf curls up and turns brown. Okay, so I'm going to mix up a solution of the hydrogen peroxide for the spray on the leaves, and I've got in here 32 ounces of water, and I found this very handy sprayer. It's a very nice small size sprayer, just right for a small balcony like this, and it's a pump sprayer, so you pump it up and pressurize it, and then it just sprays out very nicely. So the markings are all down the side here, but they're hard to read, so I used a black Sharpie to kind of pull out where the 32 ounces is. I decided to go with 32 ounces. It's exactly a quarter of a gallon, so that made it easy to calculate, because most of the dilutions that I saw were in terms of a gallon. So today I've stepped up the strength a little bit. I started out with a lower dilution, and it's good to test like that. So I tried the lower dilution and it didn't burn the leaves, so I'm stepping it up just a little. And today I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons to a quarter of a gallon. So there we go, 2 tablespoons. And we'll put that in and pump it up. There's even a little scale on here. I think it's so you can remember how much you've pumped it up. I'm not sure how that works, but I think it's usually, I don't know, about 15, maybe 20 pumps. That you can tell by the feel of it when you're getting it to the point where there's enough pressure where it'll spray well. So there we are, we've got that on, and then you just pump it up. I'm getting quite a bit of resistance, so that should do it. Alright, now we'll go over to the tomato plants and give them the old spray here and see if we can knock out this this fungus. Once you pump this little sprayer up, it comes out with a very nice fine mist. And the idea is to spray all the leaves and the stems. Give it a very thorough dousing, and underneath the leaves as well, which is a little bit more challenging. Trying to shoot up underneath. You can see it puts out a very nice fine spray, which is just what you want for this job. I'm delighted to have found it, because I was planning on using just a hand spray, a little squirt kind of hand spray thing, and that would have been pretty hard to do over a plant this size. Not that it's that huge, but that would be in a lot of spraying. So this is, I think this is about the fourth or fifth time actually I've done it. I did 2 sets and I did 1 other, so this is the 4th time I've done it. And I did notice that it helped. But the thing with this spray is that it's on contact. It kills the fungus on contact, and then when it dries up, the leaves are still vulnerable for new infection. So we're going to be adding another string to our bow. But this is the first volley of our ongoing battle here. It's really easy to do and very inexpensive, so there's no reason not to go after it if you see anything that looks like you're getting the beginnings. I only regret that I waited too long. The situation was already well involved. The plant was already well involved with the blight before I started doing this. I think if I had started earlier and been really religious about it, it probably would have gotten on top of it. Now it's a little bit iffy. But we're going to give it the old college try and see if we can turn things around. Okay, so that's the first volley in the battle against early blight. Spraying with this dilution of hydrogen peroxide. There's a few more strings to our bow, and we'll be adding that in upcoming videos. But I think the biggest point I want to make is what I've learned is that you need to start early and really be on it. So that means as soon as you see that it start, and it usually starts from the ground up because the spores are in the soil. So word to the wise: keep the tomato plants trimmed of leaves down at the bottom. They don't need those leaves down there, and if you can get air to circulate and not get it all tight with leaves, and then when the humid weather comes, that's just a breeding ground for trouble. So try to keep it as clean as you can around the soil level, and up a few inches up. And then be watching it very closely, and if you see anything develop, get onto it right away. And if your area is prone to early blight, you could actually start spraying ahead of time before you see the trouble. Start spraying, and maybe by doing that you may never actually have to deal with early blight, which would be wonderful. So anyway, I hope you learned a lot from watching this video, a lot of what not to do and some good points of what to do. And I'll see you next time. Please do comment in the box below. I'll be interested to hear if you've had experience with blight and how that worked out. And also like and subscribe. So without further ado, I'll say see you next time here on the balcony. Thanks for watching.